Hi Roopali, thank you so much for agreeing to be interviewed with us. And over here, it's me, Amrisha. I am from the NPO marketing team, and we have Elora with us, who is my teammate, and she'll be taking care of the content part. And it's a complete honor to be interviewing you today and getting a chance to delve deep into the workings of RCoz and how an open source platform with real stories is changing lives. So we have certain questions that will help us understand maximum in this limited amount of time. So if you permit, I'll start with my first question.
First of all, thank you, Amrisha and Elora. I am really excited to meet you guys virtually. And Goodera reached us a few months ago, I would say. Mm-hmm. And I was quite amazed with the big network that you have. And it's my honor as well to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Roopali. That really means a lot. So I will start with my first question then. So I would like to understand what is your background and how did you start RCoz?
So Amrisha, I came to the US a while back. I had studied sociology in Delhi University, but I did not use my skills as a sociologist. I came here, I did marketing, I was working for all the Fortune 500 companies. I worked for IBM, I worked for Cisco, I worked for VMware. So I was, in the regular corporate world. But my mind was always there to give back to the community and do something meaningful for my life. And also sort of like, it was almost like I wanted to leave a legacy that's going to be bigger than me. So I had been volunteering for a lot of organization, giving a lot back to the community. But then I thought about like doing something that was very near and dear to me. And that was really about talking about uncomfortable conversations. And that's when RCoz came, RCoz took birth. And really it was about like, you don't have to be a celebrity. You don't have to be really famous. You don't have to have super bad conditions where you can't talk. But a lot of people like you and me, we suffer through a lot of mental anxieties and disorders. And we kind of become a person, we go behind our shell. We don't want to talk about it. So RCoz was really born because we wanted to have a platform which would normalize conversation, normalize difficult conversation, and make it a part of every day. So my background was sociology. I did marketing technology, but this is, something that I just took a challenge on.
I'm very much glad that you did, because like you said, you need not be a celebrity or somebody from really bad situation to tell your stories to the world and inspire more people like you. And I believe that is the backbone behind RCoz and how it has been helping people around it. So, given the range that RCoz has, what kind of impact have you been seeing through your work in around you and around the community?
Yeah, so that's actually a really fantastic question. We got started only 2 years ago. So measuring impact was something that was on my mind, but it was a little difficult because, we want to do a lot of data and we want to get into the technology aspect of it, right? But because we're all a volunteer-based organization, it was really difficult to figure that out. But what I've seen in the small amount of time we've been there, our stories are making an impact. And I will give you a story that we did. So we did a story around a fashion designer who's also a teacher, and this is all in India. So she talked about her anxiety, and what happened was a student who was sort of like dropping out of her course, and she kept encouraging her, like, why don't you just finish it? And she was like just going into some kind of a trauma and mentally, but she could not speak about it. And she's like, I'm just going to drop out. I can't do it. And after this story of the storyteller, the teacher and the fashion designer that came out, they found, they could connect with each other. And really the issue was that the student felt that she was going to come out. She was a gay person and she did not know how to talk about it. But when she saw the vulnerability of the teacher who could speak about it, she could form a really big connection with the teacher. And that helped her come out of it and could talk about it. She found an ally, right? She found a person who she could confide in. She could, you know. So we just feel that, there are a lot of ways when people talk about the anxieties, the vulnerabilities, you take out the shame out of it. And that's when you make a person a whole person. It's not, you're not a perfect person just because you don't talk about it. You become a perfect person when you talk about your imperfections, your shortcomings. And that's what helps a community bond together.
Perfectly said. So I would like to know, apart from helping people out in their mental health journey, have you faced any difficulties starting this, or any, I should not say it, but backlash from people around?
So, surprisingly, there's not been a lot of backlash, because a lot of people, it's a little hard concept to understand in the beginning, right? Because it's not a clear-cut thing that we're trying to do. But when people give us the 2 minutes that we want to explain it to them, everybody can relate to it. Everybody says it's needed. I know it's needed. I know so many people who would benefit from it. I can talk about it. And that's what makes us, go with this whole journey. And, all the challenges, like it's a volunteer-based run organization. We have not raised any funds yet. We're still trying to perfect the platform, perfect, the back end of the technology part of it. But, and it is, I won't say it's all smooth sailing. It's very challenging at days, when things are not working and we don't have the resources, we don't have the money. But just the fact that, people are showing so much interest, like we have people who call us, everybody on my team, I don't know anybody, and we are about 25 people. So I have not got any friends on my team, but people are just reaching out to me, just like the way you reached out to me, right? Like we don't know anybody in Goodera. So I think there is something really important that people feel. And so I've really not felt any backlash. I just feel it's a great thing to do. People can connect with it, and the mission is really simple.
Amazing. It's like when you do the right thing, when you do something that's really important, it just draws people in, and you do not need to go outside and tell a word to people. So it's just a proof, I believe, that you are doing the right thing and you should just keep doing it. So given that it's been 2 years now, how has the journey been by far? And are there any specific learnings from it that you would like to share?
Yeah, so the journey has been actually very interesting. We've changed a lot of things, just like any startup would do. We started with something, we are still sort of on the same path, but we made a little bit of, we are open to ideas, we're open to a lot of feedback. So earlier we thought we will just do video stories, but now we are also doing podcasts, and we are also doing blogs, we're doing tech stories. So we are very open to new ideas that are coming up, and every story gives us a lot of learning, not only to the community, but even the team. People are so moved when they're like doing the marketing around a story. Like I have people on my team, and they're like, I did not want the story to stop because it's a story of my life too, right? And that's what makes us keep going every day, right? Like, why do we have these volunteers who are showing up every day? They're not getting any money. Why are they spending all this time? Why are they coming up with these ideas? It's just really encouraging because it's a simple idea and people can connect, right? And the stories are so valuable. And, there was no platform for people to tell beyond their own network. So now the stories are going beyond their own networks. It's reaching people who don't know each other, and they can connect with it, and they say, okay, yeah, I know what they're talking about. So I just think, like, simple idea about just showing the value of every human being. Every human experience can be useful for others. I'll also give you an example. So I was recording a story of an older lady. She's about 85 years old, and I was telling them, like, let's do a story on you. And she's like, what have I done? I've done nothing else. I've just raised a child, and, I have a husband. I'm just a housewife. I have no story. And once we got talking, she was just blossoming and laughing and talking. she wanted her story to be out. She just felt so good that there are people who want to hear her experiences in life. And they were so valuable, right? Like somebody who's lived 85 years on this earth, their stories are amazing. Like the kind of journey they've gone through, the kind of struggles they have. And just to make a person feel that they're wanted, the story is important, I think it's just like, it makes her day.
I can already feel the vibe that lady must have experienced, and also what you must have gone through recording the stories. That is something that's really uplifting and encouraging at the same time, especially I believe for housewives out there who feel that they haven't made any significant difference in the world. So that's just a way to tell them that, hey, listen, you're as important as anybody else is.
I mean, those experiences are lost, right? Like everybody's just chasing the named people. But I mean, I would just say the named people have their experiences, which we hear a lot about. But the unknown, unnamed people are also very important, and we learn a lot from them.
Rightly said. So coming back to the point of mental health, how do you feel that one person's good mental health can affect the community? How important is mental health in making sure that a community has good quality?
So really, mental health is all about relating to each other, right? Everybody's understanding around empathy, connection, and imperfection. And the society can only be made when we realize that we are not different from the other person. And the mental health challenges are best understood when you can empathize with the person who you're relating to, right? And it's a two-way street. The person who is going through a really hard journey, a hard mental health experience or trauma, right? They are already in the shell. They don't want to talk about it. They don't have words to talk about it. But when you have understood that, you are a person who will not judge them. Judging is a very big thing, right? And that's what we're hoping. Through more and more of our stories, we normalize the conversation. We take out the judging factor from people. And that's when we'll make a whole community be open, be vulnerable, not be ashamed of the shame of, the imperfections. And that's exactly what we're trying to do at RCoz.us.
So now that we have related mental health and community together, how much do you feel external factors play a role in our mental health?
I think, we are a creature of society, right? So external features are really important, what we are seeing around us. And exactly that's what we're trying to break, right? What we see around us, we become a creature of that. And when we start trying to normalize conversation, when we start trying to say that everybody has an issue and everybody can talk about it, there is no stigma in talking about it. So the external factors will start changing. And once they start changing, I think we will have a much happier and a healthier society related to mental health. And mental health, that's not something that a person has and some person don't have. All of us live with that, right? And it's just a degree of like, how much are we honest to ourselves? So the more we talk, the more we normalize, the more we remove the stigma, and the more external features that happen, I think it'll just contribute to such a nice society around us.
Perfectly said. Like the more we talk about it, the more stigma will be removed and more people will know how much important it is. So considering the fact that we have technology now, we have all these various social media platforms that really is doing a very good job in normalizing taboo topics like this. So going back to the time when we did not have all of these technologies blessings, like when you were a teenager, when you were a college student, compared to how is it now? So how has the graph been according to you? Is it a positive curve? Is it something that's going down, considering we had COVID, we have so many wars, so many tensions across the countries, refugee issues. So is it going down? Is it going up? How has it been?
So I think you really bring up a good perspective to it. COVID actually made people realize that everybody can suffer, right? Like there is nobody who will be left out from suffering. And that's when the conversation around mental health became mainstream. We started a little bit before that, but I mean, in a way, COVID was like obviously bad for the whole world, but it also made people accept that things are beyond their control. And that's the thing, that's the beauty of it, that I feel that now people are so open to accepting and talking about the mental health, because they feel that, you know, they are no different from others. If COVID can attack a person who's super rich or a person who's really not doing well economically, so can the mental health, right? It's the same thing. And so all these factors that has happened in the last 2 years, I would say people are accepting it. There are so many new avenues. There, you know, May is the Mental Health Awareness Month. So it's becoming a mainstream topic. People are giving mental health days in organizations and companies. So I feel that, you know, it's becoming a mainstream. And once we get to that level where there is no stigma, there are enough platforms, I think it's just going to be a positive thing for the society.
That's actually the thing where the stigma and you know, when people start talking about it, especially like you said, we have these mental health weeks in offices, in schools, in universities. So that's really bringing home the point that there's nothing wrong in talking about it. And you very nicely related it with COVID, where COVID did not see age, it did not see gender, it did not see the economic condition. If it has to happen, it will happen. Same goes with mental health. So there is no reasoning, I believe, for a mental health situation. And so what are the myths that you have found around mental health that you would like to burst through our platform?
That's a little hard question, but let me just try to do that. I think it's about, like, people feel like when you have a mental health, you have to go to a psychiatrist and you have to go to a specialist. So the myth that I would say is there is a lot of mental health problems that you can get resolved from the community that you live in. You know, I think people are willing to help. People are willing to listen to you. You just have to be open. So, I mean, obviously you need specialization, you need help when the problem is that acute. But I think really the myth is that you can find the help within the community that you live in. You just have to be open to getting that help.
Yes, exactly. So you are talking about speaking up and not keeping it to yourself.
Exactly. And get the community to help you, right? Like, don't be such a close person, right? Don't feel that, you know, whatever has happened in the past, people will mock you, people will laugh at you, what will people say? I mean, if they say it, they will say it, right? But it's also people will understand. And the more people understand, the more people relate to it, right? You are also less in isolation, just with your own issues, right? So, I mean, I would also say mental health also makes you an isolated person, right? You feel that you are the only one who's suffering. You are the only one who's going through these issues. But when you start talking about it, you remove even the isolation, not only around you, but even for the people who are living with you.
Exactly. And even people who are far, who are just listening to you, and they get the strength from your story that there's somebody out there who's going through the same issues, but then look at them, they're doing so much, so why can't I? So exactly. I believe it's a chain, it's a positive chain that really pushes people to, like you said, come out, speak about it, and only then can you expect help from others. So if somebody wants to help you out and help the organization and your cause, how can they do it?
So let me just tell you a little bit about our name. So RCoz is really a play on our cause. And we came up with this name is because, you know, it is the whole idea around it is that we want to work together with everybody. And right now we have such a diverse group of volunteers. The youngest one is in high school, and the oldest one, I would say, is around 70 years old because he's retired and he wants to give back. And they are, you know, we are in America right now. We started in California, but we have stories from, it's an open platform. So stories are from everywhere. The way we want people to help is share our stories. First record your stories and then share the stories that you feel somebody else needs to hear. So that's the easiest thing that you can do. But we are also looking for a lot of volunteers in data analysts, in making our technology perfect, in fundraising, in a lot of marketing activities. So whatever skills you have, whatever time you can dedicate, we are open to it. And all we ask is just come with a nice attitude, because we're trying to make a difference. We just want people with good attitude, good skills, and I think we will make a difference.
Perfectly. Seeing the range that you just mentioned, I guess you have both in your team. One side you have the freshness and greater ideas, and on the other side you have the experience and the wisdom that is really bringing everybody together.
And also because we are all online, so we actually have a lot of diversity. We have retired people, we have veterans, we have people who are looking for job skills to build on it, right? So we can actually do a lot of things for a lot of people. I'm just saying about the volunteers, right? But also the storytellers and the story listeners are the other part of it. So we are actually crossing a lot of gamuts, is what I'm trying to say.
Yes, perfectly. So if there's one message that you'd like to give out to our viewers, what would that be?
I think the one message would be, let's work together to normalize conversation. Nobody is alone. Everybody's story is important. Let's remove the barriers. Let's talk about what we are going through. Let's build a happier and a healthier society.
So, Roopali, we have discussed on, I believe, every aspect of RCoz, every aspect of its working, and heard some of the stories that you wanted to share, and your story as well. So, with my next question, we'll be moving towards the end of the interview, and it's what is the target audience for RCoz?
Yeah, that's really good, Amrisha. So, when we were starting out, a lot of people were advising us to go into a silo, but we did not do that. And that the whole reason for that is mental health is not related just to women or older segment or, Indians or students. Our target audience is anybody who's willing to talk, anybody who's willing to listen. So our target, I would just say the youngest one on our platform is 11-year-old whose story is there. And the oldest one is 88. And it's all demographics. It's around the world. So we are truly an open platform. So, everybody is welcome to listen, to share, and to contribute a story.
Perfectly. Like you said, mental health sees no boundaries. When it really affects somebody, so why should the solution see any boundary? It should be as open as anything possible, just like the internet, I guess.
Totally. Thank you so much for your time and, getting to me. I know it's really difficult, the time difference, but I'm glad we talked.
It was an absolute pleasure. And I hear so many stories, and really it just brightens my day, and whatever time it is, it really brightens me, and it really keeps me going every day, hearing such amazing stories from such amazing people.